It is 5:40 on a Saturday morning. A building system needs attention. The usual contractor is gone, and the only login anyone can find belongs to a company that left months ago. Do you use it because the building needs help, or avoid it because nobody can prove who should still have access?
And now the operational question becomes a security question. What breaks if this goes down?
That is when a credential stops being a convenience and becomes part of the building's dependency chain. The equipment may be fine, the people may be ready to respond, but if the access path is unclear, the response can still stall.
Welcome to Built, Wired, and Secured. I'm Alex Morgan. Today we are looking at the digital keys behind building operations, service accounts, shared access, remote support, and emergency paths that can keep a building moving or leave people guessing. Michael Harrington and James Rogers are with me. Good to have you both here.
Glad to be here.
Happy to join you. This is one of those subjects that sounds administrative until it shows up during a bad week.
Michael, why does this belong in a property or building operations conversation? Why not leave it with IT?
Because the effect lands in the building. If access supports environmental controls, security administration, video review, energy management, or a service response, then access determines who can help the building function. Tenants do not experience an access review. They experience a delayed response, an unavailable service, or uncertainty about what happens next. The credentials are digital, but the consequence is physical and commercial.
So the access decision can change the building's response time.
Exactly. Think about a normal handoff. A project team installs a system. A service team inherits it. A new contractor takes over later. Someone moves to another role. The equipment keeps running, but the access history gets blurry. Wait, who owns the account now? Who is supposed to approve a change? Who gets called when the person with the answer is on vacation?
And that uncertainty tends to persist because nobody wants to disable something that might be needed.
Right. The old access becomes part of the background.
Yes, and a background exception can become a permanent operating practice. A shared login gets used during a staffing gap. A remote support path remains after a project ends. An integration is still connected because one report depends on it. Nothing announces that the arrangement has become risky.
Give me the first practical move. If a team wants to understand its digital keyring this month, where should it begin?
Start with the systems people rely on when the building is under pressure. Do not try to document everything in one heroic afternoon. Pick the systems tied to maintenance, urgent response, security operations, or a major change. Then ask the people on the evening shift what they actually use. The written record and the real workflow are not always the same.
And do not limit the inventory to employee names. Look for service accounts, shared logins, remote support arrangements, connections between platforms, and emergency access. For each one, record its purpose, who uses it, who approves it, when it was last reviewed, and what happens if it disappears.
That last question changes the conversation. Instead of asking only who has access, you are asking what operation depends on that access.
Exactly. I remember a common kind of handoff, not a specific site, just the pattern. A service agreement ends, a new provider is scheduled to take over, and everyone updates the contact list. Then a weekend issue appears. The new technician can do the work, but the approved access path was never confirmed. The old contact is unavailable, the new contact is not yet recognized, and a straightforward maintenance task turns into a chain of phone calls.
That is the downstream impact. The transition looked complete because the visible paperwork was complete.
But the access transition was not complete.
Correct. And this is where I push back on a common instinct. Some teams say, if we cannot explain an account, remove it immediately.
I'm not sure I would remove it immediately. If it supports a legacy workflow, you could protect the record and lose the operation.
I agree with the caution, but not with indefinite uncertainty. If access is needed, document the purpose and name the owner. If it is not needed, retire it. If nobody knows, assign someone to find out and set a deadline. From an operational standpoint, ambiguity is not neutral. It carries risk every day.
That is fair. The review has to lead to a decision, but the decision should be informed by the people who maintain the asset. Reliability starts with disciplined maintenance. Sometimes that means testing a dependency safely before changing access, not simply deleting what looks old.
So the rule is not keep it or remove it. The rule is decide it, document it, and assign a deadline when the answer is not yet clear.
Exactly. And one named owner has to be accountable. Facilities can explain the operational need. IT or security can help establish the control process. A service provider can explain what access is required for the work. But responsibility cannot dissolve into a group conversation. If everyone is involved and nobody owns the decision, the account will probably remain unchanged.
That happens often in facilities. The team is expected to keep everything running, but it may not have authority to approve access, change a service relationship, or retire an account. Then the team is accountable for the outcome without controlling the inputs.
And how do you tighten access without making emergency response harder?
Separate normal access from emergency access. A technician should not need a permanent, unrestricted path just because an urgent repair might happen someday. Define who can authorize the exception, how the responder reaches the system, and what gets documented afterward. Include shift coverage, holidays, and contractor changes. The plan has to work at 6 a.m, not only in a meeting room.
And an emergency exception should not become a second permanent door. Give it a reason, an approver, and a follow-up review. If the same exception is used every month, that is not proof the exception is working. It may be evidence that the normal process needs attention.
What would you put on a simple review sheet for one important building system?
4 things. Who was accountable for the system? Who was authorized to access it today? When was that access last reviewed? And what is the continuity plan if the normal contact or access path is unavailable?
I would add one question to the last one. Can the person on the next shift explain the answer? If the plan exists only in one manager's memory, it is not really a plan. Technology should support operations, not complicate them.
Owner, authorized users, review date, continuity plan, and someone beyond one person's memory who knows how the response works. That is a manageable place to start.
Preventative maintenance beats emergency repairs every time, including the maintenance of responsibility itself.
This week, choose one connected building system and write 4 answers beside it: the owner, the authorized users, the last review date, and the emergency path. If one answer is blank, that blank is the work. That wraps up this episode of Built, Wired, and Secured. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us. Until next time, make sure the systems you're responsible for are built to last, wired with intention, and secured for the real world.